Hi everybody, I am just popping on to talk a little bit about echo chambers and what I'm doing to not get myself stuck there, okay? It can be very comforting to be around people that are maybe thinking the same to you, but it's not healthy to stay there, okay? Why? Because there is diversity and we need to build resilience, build an immunity to hearing other points of view. Even if we don't agree with them, it helps us understand each other better, okay? And I'm going to share what happened to me this week. I had to go and deliver something to a friend, and I picked up a couple of books that I'd lent them, and one was Braving the Wilderness by Braving Brene. Brene. She'll love that, actually. Braving Brene. She is braving, and you know, she was so brave in sharing a lot of her story and her vulnerability, especially as an academic, and talking about academia and, you know, the elitism that can happen there, and how, you know, it's a whole other thing, but that's a whole other conversation. But in this book, you know, she says, when I start to feel I'm in a bit of an echo chamber, or that I need to stretch myself, I will find people that I know who have different opinions to mine, okay? And I've got this friend who I picked these books up, is very strong, very clear, very intelligent. And the two of us can and but you know what? The more we do it, the more we respect each other, because ultimately, each time we come away with a greater understanding of each other. It's so powerful. And there's something about building resilience in that tension that you have to hold, because it builds this tolerance and resilience in your energy field that allows the ability to hold the tension between opposing views, which is such a powerful thing, especially now. Not that I'm a UN peacekeeper, but I'm just saying it's for me, it's important to stretch. It's important to stretch so that I can open my mind and help me understand people that I don't understand. You know, I'm like, why would you do that? It's like, ask, find out, listen. And anyway, one of the things so there's a couple of things that I came across which I think you might find helpful, as I was just kind of doing a little bit of research on this myself. And one was this notion that, you know, which is, let me tell you what I used to do all the time, just agree to disagree, okay? I'm not going to reveal any more about myself because I can sense I'm going to be attacked for it. And listen, I think there are times that you kind of do that, you can do that, but for me, I'm leaning in more and more, the more resilient and more strength I have in my nervous system. So I want you just to read this little section. It's about conflict transformation, and it was Brene having an interview with her friend and colleague, Dr. Michelle Buck, who is a clinical professor of leadership at Northwestern University. Anyway, so Brene says, sometimes when I get overwhelmed, my default is agree to disagree and shut it down. What do you think about that approach? So Dr. Michelle says this: people often silence themselves or agree to disagree without fully exploring the actual nature of the disagreement for the sake of protecting a relationship or maintaining connection. I get that. But when we avoid certain conversations and never fully learn how the other person feels about all the issues, we sometimes end up making assumptions that not only perpetuate but deepen misunderstandings. Can you hear that? I mean, I'm like, God, yeah. How often have I gone, oh, well, they're this kind of person. It's nonsense. And that can generate resentment. These results are sometimes worse for the relationship than just having a so-called argument would be. The key is to learn how to navigate conflicts or differences of opinion in a way that deepens mutual understanding. Even if two people disagree, imagine that after a meaningful conversation, two people could actually have increased mutual understanding, greater mutual respect, and better connection, but still completely disagree. This is very different from avoiding a conversation and not learning more about the other party. It's like, can we allow both to exist in this diverse world? It's just, to me, it's like, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to lean in. But I've had to really build resilience to that because, you know, I was so affected by the shame that was weaponized against my opinion or my beliefs or what I saw, because I'm a sort of intuitive empath. So I see so many things and pick up so many things. And, you know, it could be very overwhelming. So I might say something and make somebody feel very, very uncomfortable. And they would then go into denial, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, and shut me down and silence me. And so I've got a wound there that I've had to really work on so that I can reveal more of myself, more of my experiences, more of all the things that I've read and all the things that I've researched without being shut down for it. Because often when people don't understand, they will shut you down versus leaning in. And you know, yesterday I had a situation even with my husband where I was really getting frustrated. I was trying to explain something to him and he couldn't, and I just ended up going off and having a big cry. And he came in and he said, well, I said, honestly, if you don't understand, it's okay, but can you just give me a hug? When I'm upset, can you just give me a hug? You know, I just needed comforted. I needed a comforting blanket. I needed comforted because I was just so overwhelmed by something that had come in, and he couldn't fully understand it and I wasn't wanting him to understand. I just needed the comfort. It turned out I just needed comforting, and so, you know, it's always complex. But that's my wound, is people shutting me down. And so I've had to really work at that. So I've been able to express myself. Okay, I can share my opinion, because it's very easy to share an opinion that matches the group think. Easy, that's in the echo chamber. But it's very, very different to share a differing opinion that challenges that group think. Okay, I'm going to read you something about denial, and then I'm going to love you and leave you. So Denial, this is by David Whyte. Oh, love David Whyte. Anyway, Denial. I remember reading this and just going, oh, what a beautiful thing to say. Is underestimated as a state of being. Denial is an ever-present and even splendid thing when we see in the light of its merciful and elemental powers to cradle and hold an identity until it is ready to move on. It's this beautiful protective energy. Faced with the depth of loss and disappearance in the average life, a measure of denial is creative, necessary, and self-compassionate. Children are not meant to know they are one day to die, and older adults are not meant to tell them. Refusing to face what we are not yet ripe and ready to face can help us live in the present. There's a bit more that he talks about, but what I really liked about that was how compassionate it is. So it helps you when people are trying to shut you down, and you can kind of go, fuck them. It's often because their nervous system can't bear to hear that, your truth. It's too much. It confronts too much of their belief system, and so they will deny it, okay, in order to protect themselves. And so I'm just putting that out there too, if that's something that you're seeing, because it's a very protective and normal part of humanity, and it's there to help us. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful, and get out of an echo chamber and see if you can kind of straddle some tension. Anyway, send you lots of love as always.